Jenny, I'm naturopath from Canine Vitality. Welcome back to Happy Healthy Dogs, and this week I'm with the lovely Jenny Golsby, who some of you might remember from some of my previous videos. Jenny is the owner of the Complete Pet Company, as you can see here, and Complete Canine Communication. So welcome, Jenny. Thanks for giving up your time today.
Thank you. Hi guys.
On a bit of a serious note this week, guys, we're going to talk about a topic that I think probably doesn't get enough airtime, and that is the topic of euthanasia. And the reason I'm talking to Jenny is because she is a little bit of an expert on this. She has had a number of dogs over the years that she's had to euthanize, like I guess we all have. And sadly, she's actually lost 4 of her dogs in the last 4 months, all old dogs. So she has had a little bit of experience, isn't that right, Jenny?
Yeah, it certainly is. I lost 4 beautiful girls, and we brought along their urns today, which probably to some people might seem a little bit morbid, but they're pretty precious to me, and they have a special place at home. But there's a reason why I brought them along. So yeah, 4 girls, all 14, and in a very short space, and those girls grew up together. So yeah, it's pretty important they're all together now.
Yeah, and they are beautiful, these urns. I've actually never seen them like that, and they are really beautifully presented. So they are here today with us. So Jenny, I know you've got a view on euthanasia, which I do also agree with. And what are your thoughts around this whole thing of euthanasia with people needing to, euthanize their dogs? When is the right time? There's all these sorts of questions that I get asked myself in clinic. When is the right time? Am I being selfish? Am I holding off to, I don't want to have any regrets? All of these sorts of things. What would you say to all of that? What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, it is a massive topic. Big question. When is the right time? For me, it's always been about quality of life, not quantity of life. The youngest dog that I've actually had to euthanize was 6 months of age. So that's very, very young, but sadly due to mistreatment of him as a very young dog, his neck was so badly damaged there was just nothing that we could do. So the quality of life wasn't there, and the quantity of life was very short. So for me, it's always about quality of life. And that means, what does quality of life mean? For me, it means a dog being able to get up, being able to go for a beautiful sleeping walk, not constantly being in pain, and just still enjoying life, because that's what animals want to do. They want to enjoy life. So it's not about the amount of time that we have them or the amount of time that we're on the planet. It's about that quality.
Yeah. I think you'd agree with me, Jenny, when I say that we both see probably a lot of people coming through the doors that have old dogs, or sometimes not old dogs. They might be young dogs that are unwell and have been unwell for a long time, and those owners are grasping at straws in a sense to try and keep that dog alive. I personally think that there is a time where you have to say enough is enough, and I think you probably agree with that. Do you think though that a lot of people are still really maybe hanging on too long to that not wanting to lose the dog?
Yeah, and I really do understand that. We have dogs, and those of us that have dogs for all the right reasons, and it's not only dogs, it's all animals. It can be guinea pigs or rabbits or hermit crabs. It could be anything, but we're talking about dogs specifically here. And we all love them, but I think the problem that we have is, we're ruling with our heart and not our head, and that's where it gets us into trouble, and it turns into I can't do this because of how it's going to affect me. And I think like we've spoken to many people here at the Complete Pet Company, in your clinic, about having to sort of put that emotion aside, and that's not easy. It's really not an easy thing to do. You've got to, as I always say, you've got to dig deep. You've got to dig really, really deep. But you have to put those emotions aside, and you must do what's right for the animal. It's the ultimate gift of owning or caregiving, being a guardian for that animal. So, we do hold on to those emotions. I think it's just hearing that little voice in your head. You know, I remember saying to my mother many years ago, how do you know when the time's right? And she said, you just wake up one morning and you'll hear that little voice. And it's just being in tune with that. And I that's what I've always done. I just know that's the right time. Yeah. And the other thing I always say to people and to all of you out there, you do not want to live with regret. Yeah. I think that's a big thing. You never want to leave it too long. You don't want to get to the point where 5 years down the track you go, oh my gosh, you know, I did leave that too long. You don't want to have regret. And I can honestly say in all the animals that I've euthanized, I have no regret.
Yeah, I think that's an excellent point. I know personally I have, many years ago, I have lived with regret and hung on too long. I know a little bit better now, and I would probably be more sooner than later, but I do know there are a lot of people out there that probably do feel that regret.
Yeah.
That,
oh, absolutely.
I've left it
too long.
So.
Yeah. So, and it's also, Lyndall, just, you know, we were talking about this earlier, and I'm really glad I had the upbringing that I did, because I grew up on the land, so that probably helped me a lot to understand life and death. And I have very kind parents. And I remember, you know, we were talking about it earlier, I had a dog many years ago. It was my first dog, and I had to euthanize her, and I couldn't do it because I loved her. She was my dog, and I loved her. And my father said to me, this is not about you, Jenny, this is about the dog. And so I had to, again, dig deep, and he said to me, you deal with your emotions after, you know, you've done that. And so it's sort of like this fork in the road, and that's how I look at it. You know, you prepare yourself, you prepare what you're going in for, and you stay strong, and you do what you need to do. It's not about you, it's about this beautiful creature that you've had the life with, and then you do what you have to do, which is euthanize, and then you deal with those emotions.
Yeah, it's that really sums it up, doesn't it, Jenny? I mean, it is all about the dog at the end of the day. I think, you know, if you could imagine if it was somebody that you loved in human form, that you would do that definitely for them, and so there's no reason why we wouldn't want to do the same for an animal of any description, but as you say, we're talking dogs today. Jenny, what's your view on, because there seems to be an increasing number of people these days that do like to have home, a vet come to the home and do a euthanasia procedure at home, which, you know, can be a good thing for some people. What are your views on that? Do you think that there's one that's better than the other, or, you know, I suppose it's unique to every situation and every individual?
Yeah, that's again another really difficult question, and I don't think I have the authority or the right to tell people what is best. I think it's actually what's best for them and the animal. You know, sometimes, like with Tamika, I didn't get that choice. I didn't get either choice. That was taken away from me at an animal emergency centre. So it just had to happen. You know, we have Susan that works here with us, and we lost little Bud, and Susan decided to have Buddy euthanized at home, and that worked for her, and it worked for Bud. I think it's not really about where we do it. You know, you can do it on the top of a hill in a cow paddock. It doesn't matter where you do it. It's more about how you do it. That's important. And I personally don't euthanize my animals at home. I personally don't have my other animals, my other dogs, see them. That's just my own personal choice. But I'm with my dogs at all time. They're calm. I don't get emotional when I'm with them. I usually tell a story. We have a little giggle. All those sorts of things. So I keep it all very light-hearted because I have prepared myself for this. And, you know, so I'm quite happy to euthanize at a veterinary clinic, depending, again, making sure that the vet's the right vet too. I don't want someone coming in there and just sticking a needle in my dog and, you know, not having any emotions. There's a whole picture that we need to look at, and we need to prepare. And so I don't think there's a right or a wrong, but I think there's definitely a right on how we behave
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
and how we prepare.
Yeah, and I think probably there's a little bit of a concern for a lot of owners with the traditional take your dog to the vet to be euthanized situation where you have a picture of your mind, which I of course had many years ago myself, the cold metal table and having a dog, you know, that can be quite, it can appear to be quite uncaring and all of that. So I do absolutely understand why people might want to do that at home. And as you say, I think it's a case-by-case basis. I personally also wouldn't do it at home, that's just me, but I also am would be very aware. I haven't had to euthanize a dog now for many years, fortunately, but the next time it does happen, you know, being very aware of how that does occur within the clinic that I might attend for that. So,
yeah, and you can speak to your vet. You know, if you have an understanding vet, there's no reason why you can't take the bed. There's no reason why if candles make you feel better, or crystals make you feel better, or calm music make you feel better, or whatever it is. But it's, you know, you are their guardian. I think it's how you behave. If you go in there crying and hanging over the top of them and you know, having all these emotions going on that you're going through, then of course it's going to make it really difficult for the animal.
absolutely.
So it's a preparation thing, and it's being really respectful and having empathy for, you know, the animal and having a good relationship with the veterinarian as well.
Oh, absolutely. And I think you just picked up on a point which, of course, is the basis of what a lot of the work that you do is the stress.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of us, when we're in that position of having to say goodbye to a pet, are highly, you know, we're emotionally volatile, and everything's heightened, and so it's very easy to get very emotional in front of your animal. But as you say, that does increase a lot of stress in their final moments, which we don't really want to do.
No, because you know, those last minutes are the minutes that you have in your head forever. You know, they're lasting memories. So you've got the whole life of the animal, but it's very important, those lasting memories. So you want to walk out of that clinic, or, you know, the pet cemetery, crematorium, come and pick your animal up, and you want to have good memories about that, no regrets and good memories. So that's very, very important.
Oh yeah, and as you say, just always talking to your vet and having that conversation. Don't be afraid to have the conversation with your vet to say, look, you know, I think it is time, or what's your normal procedure? Maybe check that out prior, or have some understanding of how they actually do that.
Yeah, what happens?
Exactly.
How the body shuts down.
Exactly.
What exactly may happen after you know, everything has stopped, all the organs have stopped. Sometimes they take a deep breath. You know, sometimes they make a noise, and those things can be quite frightening. But veterinarians, I mean, they are very professional with explaining all those things to you. And even as many times as I've done it, and it was only 2 weeks ago today, in actual fact, that we lost Iz. And that was explained to me, and I sort of said, I understand what happens, and she said, I just go through this procedure anyway. You need to, because it's very important to understand. Can I just go through what I actually do?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So once I know that it's time, I've obviously worked that through in my mind that, you know, we're getting there, we're working up to it, and it's going to happen. So I normally will take my dogs for a walk, as I do every other second day, third day, once a week, whatever it is that I'm doing, a search treat in the backyard or a walk. And then I just take them out of the house as if we're going out on our own, and we go to the vet. Everything's very calm, and I'm just very normal. I just act the same. I've had my little cries away, whether it's in the bedroom or the bathroom or wherever it might be, but I'm prepared. I'm really prepared, and I'm doing this for the animal. And so then what I'll do is we get into the vet clinic, and I usually try and organise that I'm not hanging around waiting, because as we know, that creates stress in the body for you and the dog, just being in a vet clinic anyway. And so we go in. I usually try and sit on the floor. I just find that's easier for me to do, to sit down on the floor. And I just hold my dog. You know, I'll cradle their head, or depending on the size of them. With the Danes, obviously it's their head. With the smaller dogs, it might be their body. It just depends. I'm always there when the vet nurses are putting the needle in, and the vet's putting the needle in, the vet nurses are there. I'm always there, and I'm always protecting my dog and making sure they're not put under stress. And then once it's done and it's over and I leave, that night I play a song, and I have done for many, many dogs, and it's by Celine Dion, and it's called Fly, and I play that, and I burn a candle, and I send them on their way. I have their ashes come back, and they all stay with me, so I have all my dog's ashes, and they're underneath my vision board. So that's sort of my procedure, and that's my closure.
Yeah.
And then I spend the next 2 weeks grieving, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. And you know, that can be, I can be angry, I can be sad, I can feel sick, I can be happy. So, you know, there is no set rules on how you're going to feel. And every dog, you know, my mother used to always say, I love you girls, but I love you all differently.
Oh, yeah.
And
yeah.
Every dog brings something different. And so then you can, you know, go back through all those beautiful memories. And you know what, they never leave you.
No.
They never leave you.
No.
They're always there. They're always with you. They come on walks. I know they're there.
Yeah.
So
I would agree with that. You know, I know with dogs that I've lost, that I always sense them around me too from time to time. And I think it's really nice that you have a ritual. I have a little ritual that I do, not quite in the same way, but it's just something I do as well. And I think it's quite nice to do that, because that's also a way of coping with the grief. It's a grieving process. That's part of the grieving process, and we all grieve in different ways. Some people grieve by, you know, going through, you know, reflecting memories and things like that. Others need to just have a long cry, and that might go on for a long time. You know, there are all different ways. There's no right or wrong way, as you say. But having a ritual for anything like that, I think, is just an excellent way to just release on a lot of different levels. So that's really
And
beautiful.
having friends too, you know, light a candle. I know when we lost Bud, Susan's little dog, all of us here at the Complete Pet Company at exactly the same time lit candles, which was very, very special for him and for Susan. So we all timed it right down to the T of everybody lighting those candles. So, you know, you can do things like that, get friends, family involved, and send these animals off and let them go. You know, just let them go and let them be. They've had a great life, you've loved them, you've given them the best of everything, and if you haven't, the next dog, make sure you do. And yeah, just be very respectful, and it's all about quality of life.
And I think it's important to remember, as we were saying this morning, Jenny, when we were talking about this, that that animals don't see death in the way that we do. We have a lot of emotional baggage that we carry around with us every day for our life, and we do put that onto all sorts of different situations in our lives. But dogs or animals in general don't. They don't see, as you say, you're born and then you die.
Yeah, you live, you die. You live, you die.
Birth, life and death.
Yeah.
And that is exactly how they see it. So although we do put that emotion onto the situation, they're not actually going through quite the same process, and they are able to let go far easier than we are. So I think that's important to remember too, that when they're ready, and they're, I know you said with Izzy that
she was ready.
She was ready.
So ready.
Yeah.
You know, she was here that day, and it was just time for me to have taken Izzy home that night. That would have been wrong. It would have been selfish. It was not right. She was just, I knew she was ready, you know, and I miss her, I love her, I'd have her back I'd have them all back.
Of course, in a
but
heartbeat.
that's not going to happen. So, you know, it is what it is. But I think the most important thing is that we're just really sensible about this, and not get too caught up in it. You know, not get too caught up in all the drama, because human beings, we like it. We like drama.
We do drama well. Yeah.
We do drama well, and animals don't. You know, they're just so uncomplicated.
And I think absolutely. So quality of life, keeping it simple, keep the emotions out to a degree. Of course, we're humans, we feel, so we're not going to not be able to feel at a time like that. But putting them aside to a more appropriate time, remembering the dog comes first in that situation, or the animal, whatever it may be in the situation. Anything else you'd like to add to finish up, Jen?
Yeah, Van Morrison wrote a song, and in the lyrics said, if your heart could do your thinking and your head began to feel. I think that's very true. You know, if your heart did that thinking and your head was the thing feeling, that we probably wouldn't let these animals go on for too long, and just don't have that regret.
Yeah.
Don't have that regret.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you, Jenny, for all that wisdom that you have and experience in a sad sort of situation where but ultimately we know as humans that our dogs are generally going to outlive our dogs. We know that in a lifetime of owning dog after dog that you're going to have to put a few of them to sleep, most likely.
Yep.
So we accept that as humans, bringing an animal into our life. But thank you again for having for picking up the time and sharing that wisdom. I think it's a really important topic that nobody wants to talk about. I personally think that we just need to be talking about this openly and just spreading a few views about it so people can
and talk to your vet. Find out what happens, how it happens.
Don't be scared.
How the system closes down. Everything. Just ask questions, read, and do your research, and you'll feel a lot better.
Yeah, cool. Well, thanks, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, and share, and subscribe to my channel for each week video. We will catch up with you though in another video. Till then, though, have a great week. Thank you again, Jenny, and we'll talk to you very soon. Okay, guys. Bye for now.
Bye.